Look, I'm not going to say I told you so, but in what even the most liberal media outlets are calling an absolute masterclass of a State of the Union address, Donald Trump figured out a way to get Democrat representatives to admit what we've known all along. That is, that illegal alien immigrants are a greater priority to them than even their own Democrat voters, let alone all American citizens.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Right there. You see it? If you believe that the number one duty of American representatives is to protect the interest of American citizens and not illegal aliens, simply stand up. And every Democrat remains seated. I think maybe John Fetterman might have been the only one who stood up. They're telling you right here, folks, they're not worried about you because they understand what their party needs to do to continue to be elected and to continue to gain power. And unfortunately for them, because their policies are so bad, that is to flood the zone with illegal immigrants in the hopes of leveraging whatever happens to them to evoke a emotional response from American citizens into votes come the midterm and general elections. And you could tell, even though Trump is like, he's being his usual funny self, you could tell he's annoyed because he's looking at the Republicans standing up, clapping and cheering, and then he's looking at the Democrats with the side eye. And then he just turns to them. And he's thinking, well, we're all thinking, this should have been something easy to stand up for. We live in America. Obviously, because we live in America, Americans are the priority, not illegal immigrants who come from a place that is not the United States of America. There is no country on earth. There's no constituency on earth that is going to go against their own politicians for saying they prioritize them and their needs over the needs of people who aren't even citizens of said country. Now, let's not dogpile the Democrats all at once. Maybe they had a good reason for not standing up. Maybe there was something about what Trump said that went against their values and their principles as representatives in this great country of the United States of America. Maybe there was some extenuating circumstance that prevented them from getting on their feet and applauding and standing in solidarity, not just with Trump, but with the American people and the Republican Party of representatives that they are expected to work with to better the lives of Americans. But when asked why they didn't stand up in ovation for Trump's statement, their answers simply just seem to be lacking. Listen to what Democrat Representative Janelle Bynum of Oregon had to say when asked why Democrats chose not to stand.
What did you think about that moment when the president was asking Democrats to stand up for American citizens during that part of the speech when he was talking about immigration and immigration enforcement efforts?
I think you can agree with the what, like standing up for American citizens, but I disagree with the how. And so it's always about how do we bring our country together, but not stand on the backs of others. There's thinly veiled racist language, anti-immigrant.
What? How we bring our country together without standing on the backs of others. I promise you, these responses are clearly rehearsed and overused, if you ask me. How we're gonna bring our country together, but not stand on the backs of others. Newsflash, Janelle: if they stay in their own country, there is no way for the American people to stand on their backs. The reality is they are standing on our backs. As a matter of fact, they're standing on our tax dollars, and we're not happy with that. That's why we want them gone.
Immigrant language in what he was asking, and that was
Oh, and I forgot to mention, we always got to go back to the racist language. Oh, it was thinly veiled racist language. What was racist about Donald Trump saying we stand with American citizens first? American citizens are not just white people. American citizens are not just black people. American citizens come in all shapes, sizes, and colors from all types of different countries from around the globe. So where's the racism in that? But let's see what some of the audience reactions were to Trump's State of the Union speech. Let's go to the streets of TikTok to see what people had to say.
That was quite the speech, wasn't it? Let me start off by saying something very clearly. If you have any degree of common sense, if you have the ability to think critically and use logic, the only conclusion you can draw from tonight's State of the Union address is that the modern radical Democrat Party hates America. And I do not say that lightly. I wish I could say I was surprised. I wish I could say I can't believe they didn't stand up for X reason, Y reason, Z reason. Trump literally gave them the opportunity to stand up and admit that one of the roles of government, one of the biggest roles of government, is to protect American citizens. And what did they do? They sat on their hands.
Democrats in Congress do not care about the American people, and they never have, and they proved it last night. Hold it and roll it.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Shocking. Not really.
There was one defining moment in the State of the Union address that everybody should be paying attention to. In the middle of the State of the Union, President Donald Trump said that the role of government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. And then he asked Congress to stand if they agreed. And every Republican stood up, and almost every Democrat stayed seated. And that visual, that's the headline. Not the applause lines, not the policy details, that moment. Because the State of the Union isn't just about words, it's about priorities. And in that one shot, you saw the divide in Washington crystal clear. On one side, Republicans standing for border security and immigration enforcement. And on the other side, Democrats refusing to stand when it comes to protecting American citizens over illegal immigration. Whether you support Donald Trump or not, you cannot ignore that image.
The minute something happens that exposes the true colors of the Democrat Party, well, then that's when the mainstream liberal media machine goes to work telling you, hey, don't believe your lying eyes. What you saw clear as day, that's really not the message that the Democrat Party was trying to convey. And we can't tell you what the message is, but what we can do is try to discredit every other thing that President Trump said or did to distract you from what the liberal Democrat, far left Democrat Party did that offended you or made you concerned about their desire to protect this country over the interest of others who are not citizens.
The USA hockey team, men's hockey team, when they came out, they were paraded out. Our Olympians, these Americans that, have put their blood, sweat, and tears into their craft and who won, I'm excited about a gold. But what made me cringe, and the people online were also cringing in the chat on the live stream on YouTube, on MS Now's YouTube, pardon me, using our servicemen and women, the Olympians, as political props to serve his agenda. That did not go over well with the people that are plugged in and paying attention, but they'll just see it.
They're not going to see it as that because it doesn't matter which political side of the political aisle you're on. If the hockey team whooped Canada for the first time in 46 years, it doesn't matter what Trump says or what the Democrats say. Shout out to Jack Hughes, right? Shout out to Connor Hellebuck. Those guys are awesome. I remember those guys' name, and I've never watched a hockey game until that one. So when you're talking about Trump politicizing the moment, no, they're doing exactly what they're claiming Trump is doing, and then trying to do damage control and blame Trump for why they were being unpatriotic towards the country.
He tried again and again, and Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, two congresswomen, when he started talking about immigration, started shouting at him.
Who blocked the removal of criminal aliens.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's something we start to see on a loop in the days and weeks going forward. That said, big questions about how any speech in our media environment today really matters in the long run. We'll have to see.
But when you look at Democrat voters, normal, moderate, common sense having Democrat voters versus the far leftists in the group, you can quickly tell who the Democrat Party, unfortunately, has become beholden to. And these people are nuts.
Address. I swear to God, somehow he outdid himself. It got to a point where I really had to stop watching because it was just too much. What the hell was that State of the Union address? I swear to God, somehow he outdid himself. It got to a point where I really had to stop watching because it was just too much. It was all standing. Stop. The U.S. hockey team being there, men's hockey team being there. We didn't need to see that. No one needed to see that. That was
all right, Fruity Poo. We didn't need to see that. Dude, you didn't need to see that. What are you talking about? These are things that have been going on since I was a young kid and beyond that in America. But this points to what we keep saying. These people do not align with American values. I don't know about you, but when I saw the men's hockey team there, I got goosebumps, man. I was like, look, man, this is awesome. These guys left it all out on the ice. They kicked Canadian butt. Canada been chirping, talking trash, and the USA put bell to ass, and it's dope that Trump brought them to the State of the Union address to give them recognition. If Connor Hellebuck, the Presidential Medal of Freedom? I think that's the highest civilian honor that can be given. That was dope as hell. But this dude, because he doesn't care about America, he doesn't even know what it means to be an American, he's dogging us. He's criticizing us. I could cover this all day. I think the State of the Union was a resounding success. I think Donald Trump hit the mark. I think he did what he had to do. And other liberal outlets seem to agree with me.
Among speech watchers tonight, 64% say his policies will move the U.S. in the right direction. And look at the growth President Trump made over the speech. So pre-speech, it was 54% of speech watchers said his policies will move the U.S. in the right direction. After the speech, that number goes up 10 percentage points. So Donald Trump made some progress with people watching the speech from their pre-speech expectations to what they saw in the speech itself. And that 64% number, that's pretty much in range across all of his State of the Union addresses. In his first term, last year, the joint session, that's about what we've seen. Is roughly 2/3 have walked away from his speeches thinking he's going to move it in the right direction.
So a lot of red meat for the base.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. If you're a Republican on the ballot in 2026, I think you leave this speech being as happy as you could possibly be that he sort of stuck to the script on the economy, he gave the red meat to the base on immigration, and they can leave the hall tonight and sort of take that out on the campaign trail.
I would not be surprised at all if he helped himself there. That's not enough. One speech is not going to change anything. But the Republican Party needs its base enthusiastic heading into the midterm election year. And there was a lot in the speech from the president, both from a policy perspective of what he's done and what he's trying to do, and the few skirmishes he had with the Democrats, that if you're trying to get your base to say, okay, I've been sort of pulled back Washington's too loud. I don't like the fighting. I don't like a lot of Latino Republicans I talk to. I don't like seeing ICE in the streets of America. You might get a little bit of them back in the fight.
And that is what was so important about tonight. He nailed the Republican base, brought them back in the fold with a solid message on the economy, on immigration, on his foreign policy. That is the work he had to do. And that also brings over a lot of independents that are similarly minded to what Republicans believe.
Not sure about that part, but we'll see. That's
actually how the presidential election modeled out, and will be very instructive and important for the midterms. He has to maintain his control of Republicans on the Hill. He did that and did that in spades.
I do agree that Trump has to show that he has command over the Republican Party. That's all I have to say about that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think Donald Trump nailed it in his State of the Union address, or do you think he missed the mark? Do you think the liberal pundits are correct, or do you agree with the liberal pundits who are, in my opinion, being honest about the situation? Let me know what you think. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe. Till the next time, thank you.